Hello, welcome, Cabbage here. In Nier Reincarnation, let's do a beginner's guide to costumes, which is what the different versions of characters are called in this game. This will not be a tier list, this is more of a guide of what kind of costumes to choose and level on a new account in order to see all of the main story. And then in the latter half of the video, I'll make some picks for some good characters to get if you want to move on to, say, the Tower or Fate boards. And in preparation for this video, I went back and revisited my videos about the new JP account I made in January 2023 to see how long it took me to clear the main story and how much I needed to level stuff. I cleared both the Girl Monster and Sun Moon Axe, normal and hard, with just Abyssal Fio, and the handouts, New Year's, Alkeha, and Gale at level 90. All of my weapons were at level 70 with level 1 skills, and I did it in 10 days as free-to-play. That is a very low hurdle to get over, and the new People World arc is not more difficult than what came before, so I think diligent players who are familiar with mobile games could see the whole main story in 14 days or fewer. Players who are not familiar with mobile games, or players who want to take a more relaxed pace, should still comfortably see all of the main story in 3 or 4 weeks. And as we get closer and closer to April, I'm going to stress harder and harder to start now. And I'll call maybe 2 weeks before shutdown as the deadline. But if you play really hard, you can do it even faster than that. But yeah, again, I'll talk about game modes and how much time they might take in a future video. Alright, so in the beginning of the game, we want to choose 3 costumes to focus our leveling materials on and use them throughout the main story of the game. For starting a new account, we get an exchange medal to get a free costume. I highly recommend choosing a top tier attacker. What that means is like anybody with a max attack of like 80k or higher. The one series I would be wary of is the Girl Monster Abyssal series. Their cooldown fill speed is slower than all the other costumes, which is one of the most important things in the game. That being said, I still chose Abyssal Fio, and she turned out to be fine. I was totally able to see the main story. The main story quests are just not that difficult, which is very kind of the developers, unlike some other games. See no Alice. Alright, we have 2 slots left over, and I went with a couple handout units just to see how doable it was, and it was still quite easy. I think you could use almost any 4-star Hatcher costumes with decent attack values. If you pulled early in your account and you got, say, the recent Christmas units or New Year's units, any of those would be great. Or you could use the handout costumes from the SS for Everyone campaign. I made a video reviewing the costumes and weapons from there, but I can recommend Abstract Demas if you didn't want to use like the handouts. He has decent stats all around and a very handy character skill that causes the blind status effect. Alright, but once we have our team of 3 costumes, we can start leveling them. I'll say the most important, impactful thing we can do first, that is putting slabs into the characters. The difference this makes is like the difference between night and day, so pick your 3 characters, then go to this menu, and unlock them to like 50-something%. That will get you to the middle of this second rank here. You won't even need any large slabs. And yeah, that will help you breeze through the main story, and they should be given out enough at the beginning to make this possible for your 3 characters. After that, we should use books so that we can... Yeah, here we are. We should use books so that we can do at least 1 ascension, and if we do that, we will unlock the second passive ability here. So 75, that's a good starting point to aim for on a new account. For character skills, not super important to level those early game. And then we don't need to worry about karma or awakenings at all for just the main story. And that's it really. With that info, you can get through the main story, normal and hard. Going beyond that, particularly Tower and Fate boards where we get lots of gems and material awards, we're going to want more specific costumes, and then these are my picks. But first category will be top limited Hatcher costumes, and the first one here I think is the first one that everybody should go for, and that is Anniversary F66X. What we want for PvE are, we want healing, and we want an attack break, or multiple attack breaks. What this F66X is doing is roll compression. She's doing 2 rolls in one with her character skill, and so that frees up more slots in our party to do other things. So, yeah, highly recommend her, and she also has a great weapon, which has that same kind of ability set. Okay, after her, I really like Christmas Gale. She's a little bit less versatile because with her character skill, there is a part of it that wants to be equipped with a water weapon. But that's just damage mitigation barriers. It's more important that she heals your party and buffs your defense. So, yeah, still very good for PvE. And then it's great to put the Dark Memory Argo Poison Spear on her, and then almost use her in any element, because then she'll be able to put up the damage mitigation barriers, and then be your damage output, and hopefully be tanky enough to take the damage from being off element. Okay, and then we have some guys that are specialists in the attack break, one of which is Summer Yuri. I would very highly recommend her. She has a defense up for your party as well, and then reduce the critical rate for the enemy. So yeah, lots of nice stuff there. If you can't get your hands on her, then instead I would recommend Anniversary Demas. Almost as good. But he also has the attack break and then the defense buff for the party. Okay, and then, worse than either of them, but if you didn't have either of them, you could certainly use him. That is going to be Anniversary Griff. He has the kind of the simplest character skills of all of these, but just break attack for 50%. So it's just as good as an attack break, but no defense buff, for example. It does have some hits, will speed up cooldowns for other characters when own affinity is water, but yeah, in most cases I would rather pick Yuri or Demas. And then I don't have her, but New Year's Sarafa. She's so strong, she's good in like all game modes, she can even solo very hard PvE content, so yeah, if you have her, definitely use her. Okay, next let's talk about top standard pool costumes. One of them is Bloody Akeha. Part of this is for her healing that she does. 20% heal, that's not super high, but also cures a status ailment. Maybe more important than her is her sword that she comes with. It's the only light weapon that has both a party heal and an attack break on the enemy, so yeah, if you can get 2 of those, that would be ideal, I think. Okay, next we got Abstract063Y. He is the only 4-star character in the game with an AoE poison in his character skill. Later when we talk about 3-star costumes, I'll talk about another character with that, but just kind of lower stats and so lower survivability overall. But yeah, I talk a lot about the Argo Spear, the Poison Spear, or the Akeha Greatsword with the burn. Now my account is so strong that I can use those in almost any element and then get the clears. But in the earlier part of the game, when my account overall was not as strong, this 063Y was very good for me because then I could always build to be on element, so I could get that element resistance. And I could also always equip the proficient weapons, so they get the extra stats there. And yeah, this guy got me a lot of clears in the earlier days of the game, maybe the first 2 years. Okay, next is Abstract Hina. She is one of the few standard pool characters with a heal, in this case a regen for 4 turns, but also a revive. So if you have a downed partner, you can use this to bring them back to 40% HP. Very valuable character to have. Alright, then we have Bloody Griff. I think he's still the only standard pool character with a provoke in his character skill. This can help you with big single target attacks from bosses. He can take that, use the damage mitigation barriers to reduce the damage there. Nice gun as well with lots of HP. And then, one of my favorites, Abstract Akeha. she also has an attack break, but actually worse than all of the ones that I've talked about so far. But it's only 40% versus the 50% for the other 3 that I mentioned. And then, yeah, she does have a defense buff, but that's for much less than 50%. However, she was good enough for me to clear all of the fate boards, so very useful for me. Just gives you an idea of like how much easier it's going to be with the stronger characters. Okay, next let's talk about top unlockable costumes. I'm gonna save best exchange costumes for when we get that super exchange store February 8th. But here I'll just be talking about Dark Memory characters, basically. But first we want healers. So that's Dark Memory Leon. And Dark Memory Sadiu. And the brand new Dark Memory 10H. These are all great choices for a first Dark Memory character. Of these 3, I would probably recommend 10H the most, because she also has a top class weapon with a party heal, and then a very good EX story, so yeah. Lots of reasons to recommend her. And then, I'll recommend 2 characters, not so much for the characters themselves, but for their weapons, which are really, really good when they're maxed. One is Dark Memory Akiha for the Burn Greatsword, and the other is Argo with the Poison Spear. This can be excellent for your damage source on a super tanky team in PvE. Alright, finally, let's talk about 3-star costumes. And here we're going to dip a little bit into exchange characters, but I think we're going to be okay. And I forgot to mention this at the beginning, but I'm not covering any collaboration characters, because chances are we're not going to see them for the rest of the game. Okay, but 3-star F66X for the party heal. That's very good. We got the Noelle that I talked about earlier, who has the character skill with the poison. Single target. That's another reason why she's not as good as 4-star 063Y. And then we have Argo. I showed him off in a recent challenge run video, but he has an attack break. It's only for 30%, but still something. And then similar to him is Yuri, who also has a 30% attack break. She is the one character that is for the exchange, so I'll be talking about her soon, I think. Okay, that'll do it for the Beginner's Guide to Costumes. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you again. Take care.